Story 1. My wife went out last night and didn't come home until this morning plus updates. I am not OP. Original post by you /throw off my chest 234 in our /true off my chest. Trigger warnings, cheating. First post, my wife went out last night and didn't come home until this morning October 16, 2022. This is horrible, I'm furious right now. But I'm also depressed as hell. I know what I have to do, it's just killing me that I have to do it. It's fresh, and it hurts a lot. My wife didn't come home last night. She went out with a couple of girlfriends, which is pretty normal for her. She's normally back around 2 a.m. on these nights, so I waited up. Around 2:30, I called to check in. She answered, and I could hear people in the background. She told me they went to a party but were leaving in a couple of minutes. She wasn't home by 3, so I texted. It delivered, but no reply. Around 4 a.m. I called again, it rang a couple of times before she sent me to voicemail. My wife finally came stumbling through the door at 6:47 a.m. this morning. I know the exact time because I was worried. She was wearing a dress she didn't leave the house in, with mesh leggings I've never seen either. The leggings had clearly been torn, and her makeup was smudged. My heart sank when I saw her. My immediate worry was that she had been assaulted. She only shook her head no when I asked her that. I asked her what she had been doing then. She only said that I knew what she had been doing, and that kind of confirmed what the voice in the back of my head had been screaming since she walked in. My wife cheated on me last night. I asked her who it was, she shrugged almost casually and said it was somebody they met at the club. She went back to his house and hooked up with him, then Uber home. She then said she didn't want to fight and just wanted to sleep. So that's what she did. She's still asleep now, and didn't even take a shower before passing out. Suffice to say our relationship is over. We don't have any kids, and we rent, so it shouldn't be an extremely complicated process. I keep trying to reason myself out of it, pretending there might be something to salvage here. I've always maintained that cheating would be a red line for me though. I think I need to stick to that now. Small update, true update coming later, but for now. Alright, things have happened. I am no longer at home, I left. I wasn't able to get the day off work today though, so I'm writing this on my lunch now. It's been a struggle keeping myself together today, honestly. I've had to sneak off to the bathroom twice to cry, things rough dude. I'll post something more detailed later on because holy cow there's a lot. I'm exhausted. I've only slept about 4 hours total since this all happened. Does anyone know if I should post the actual update in a new thread, or just update the one I already made? It's gonna be a lot of text, probably longer than the first one by a bit. Also, to the woman who felt compelled to send me a topless picture. Thanks, but also no thanks. My heart just isn't in that sort of thing right now. Final update, my wife went out last night and didn't come home until this morning. Me again, folks. I'm sorry I didn't get around to this sooner. I wasn't able to get the day off work yesterday because my boss kind of sucks. I was a complete mess at work yesterday though, so I was allowed to take the rest of the week as vacation, thankfully. I think I went through all of the stages of grief while my soon-to-be ex was sleeping. I wasn't expecting my post to get any attention at all. I just figured I needed to try to talk to someone about it, because I was not in a good headspace. I made the post in the morning, and by noon she was still conked out in the bedroom. I had processed things a bit more, and I had a rough plan in my head that I was starting to set in motion. I made a short list of questions I wanted answers to, gathered up all my important documents, laptop, etc. Then I went into the bedroom and started packing myself a suitcase. I know a lot of folks wanted me to kick her out. I did consider it, but honestly I'm not overly attached to this place. We just rent, and I'm in a lucky enough situation to be able to say that paying half the rent for a few months isn't going to financially end me. It'll sting a little bit, I won't lie. But I'll make it, and I feel like being around this place is only going to remind me of her anyway. I need to be looking forward, not back. She ended up waking up about halfway through me packing my suitcase. There was momentary confusion as she looked around the room, then she just started bawling. Maybe this is awful of me, but I didn't bother comforting her. I told her I had the screenshots of her Uber and text messages from her phone, and that plus her confirmation was enough that things between us were completely done. She didn't answer me, and just cried louder. I debated trying to continue the conversation, but I decided to just pack the rest of my suitcase and head back out to the living room until she came out. When she finally left the bedroom, she sat next to me on the couch and asked me if we could talk things through. I told her as calmly as possible that wasn't how things were going to work. I was going to ask questions, I wanted honest answers. She told me she'd be honest, so I proceeded. My voice was shaking the entire time, it was taking me everything to hold it together, but I kept going. Was this the first time she had cheated? She started crying before she answered that, then told me no. She had cheated on me multiple times over the course of our relationship. It was, and I'm going to use her words exactly here, just sex, a way for me to let off steam. None of it ever meant anything. I wrote a comment shortly after making my post that all the love couldn't just fade away in one swoop. Well, it can. It hit me right then that I wasn't dealing with my wife. The person I was married to literally wasn't in the room. This was someone different. She refused to tell me exactly how many times she had cheated, just more than last night. Had she used protection? No hesitation from her before she nodded her head emphatically. She seemed surprised I'd even asked that. I'm still going to get tested just to be safe. I did some research into timing and I'm going to look after it. Were her friends also cheating on their spouses? Yes, and no. I tried to get her to tell me which of her friends were cheating so I could get in contact with their spouses. She probably should have, because her refusal led to me messaging pretty much the romantic partner of every one of her girlfriends I could find on social media. There are a couple I don't know or couldn't find, but I did my part. Why did she do it? This was the answer that gutted me the most. I'm going to use her exact words again. I need to have sexual variety. I told her that it's not like our ex-life is dull. She clarified. It's not the same as something new. I didn't even have a response to that one. I had expected something about me working too much, or not supporting her emotionally. Nope. She just banged other guys because she felt like it, and wanted to have some fun. When I didn't respond, she started asking me about counseling and therapy. I reiterated that our relationship was over. I'd be leaving. What she did next disgusted me. My ex actually tried to have sex with me. She put her hands on me, and started trying to take off my clothes. I felt like I wanted to vomit, and pushed her away after a couple of seconds. She just kept telling me that she would figure out a way to fix it, that we would work through it together. I told her that there was no way, and she started bawling again. She went to the bathroom and locked herself inside. I was just sick of everything at that point. I called her mother, and told her what was going on. The full story too, the cheating, the questions I had asked, and the fact I was leaving. I've always had a good relationship with my ex's parents. They both decided to drive to town, which is about an hour for them. Once I knew someone was on the way, I just grabbed my things and left. Her waterworks in the bathroom were just annoying me because it felt hollow to me, especially given the answers to my questions. I ended up packing another bag before I left, and took all the things that I could think of that I felt sentimental attachment to, with me. I found a parking lot and sat in my car until I was able to get in contact with a buddy for a place to crash. I tried to take a nap, but I was running on way too much adrenaline. I knew when her parents had made it to the apartment because she started calling me. When I didn't answer those, she started texting me. She had gone from sad and crying to furious. Apparently I'm a f***ing piece of shit for telling her mom everything. Whoops. I'm not sorry. I've received roughly 100 texts from her since leaving. They range from name-calling all the way to begging me to come back, to sending me pictures of the food she ate for some reason. I haven't responded to any of them. I feel like I said my piece before leaving. So that's where I'm at now. We didn't have joint finances, so that part was easy. I cancelled all the subscriptions that go to my credit card just to be sure, and changed all my important passwords. I'm crashing on a friend's couch for the next bit, But I've got some feelers out to some short-term rental places until I can find something more permanent. I've got feelers out for a divorce attorney too. A co-worker of mine had a recommendation, so barring something better I'll probably go with them. I also wanted to say that I was shocked how supportive everyone was, and thank you for that. Truly, from the bottom of my heart. It isn't easy for me to talk about emotional things with people close to me. This was an invaluable venting place for me. Thank you all so much. TLDR, this wasn't the first time she had cheated on me. I packed up my things and left, and I think I'm on track to being in a better place. Working on initiating divorce proceedings now. Reminder, I am not the original poster. Note, I marked this thread as concluded because although we don't have an update on the divorce, the last post was 2 months ago and OP was very set on going through with it. In the comments, UG225 commented, "How did the wife think this was going to be fixed?" Makarov93. Because she does not understand that the issue is the broken trust, not the physical act itself. Bibbidi bobbidi boo. I managed to forgive an ex for cheating, but I realized I could never trust him again. I have never had anxiety before or after, but my brain was sending me constant thoughts that he was cheating or him hiding his screen, and suddenly clicking off Facebook. This was 10 years ago, when he realized I could see him messaging people, which may or may not have been innocent, I'll never know. But when it hit me, even if it was the best case scenario, e.g., he was planning a wonderful surprise of some description, my brain would not be able to accept that anytime soon. I took a break from him and never got back in touch. I realized I was no longer questioning what people said or whether I was going bonkers from seeing one thing to be told I'm imagining it. You can forgive for yourself to heal, but rebuilding trust isn't always possible. Story 2. My son stole a rare toy from my brother. My brother is refusing to take it back and is threatening to get the police involved. What do I do? Repost. I am not OP, original post by you/whoop23 in us/legal advice. My son stole a rare toy from my brother. My brother is refusing to take it back and is threatening to get the police involved. What do I do? Right now my brother is threatening to sue me for my son taking a figure from his collection and get the police involved. Here is the story. Last week, my brother invited me and my family over for dinner. While we were there, my son asked to see my brother's collection of toys and figures. My brother has spent a good deal of money on his collection, and from what I know, it's one of his biggest hobbies. Well, after dinner, we left and everything seemed normal. Well, until yesterday. My brother called me up furiously and told me my little turd stole something from his collection and I needed to return it immediately. I honestly was upset at this, but if my son had taken something that was wrong, especially if it was from my own brother. Well, it turns out that my son slipped away during dinner and took a Boba Fett figure from his collection. He confirmed it because he has footage from his porch camera of him taking it out to our car. I was furious and took it from him. Here is the problem though, after I confirmed with my brother it was his, I found out that my son had removed it from its packaging. Apparently the figure is worth almost $2,000 in its package and almost nothing out of it. So my brother broke down over the phone and refused to take it back before hanging up. Well, he just called me again today and said he wanted me to pay for a replacement immediately or he will get the police involved and sue me. I told him I would help pay for one, but not fully, to which he said, "Not good enough," and hung up. Honestly, what are my options here? I can't afford to pay him back right now. If he does go the police, will my son get arrested? He's only 15. It was very wrong of him to do, but I think my brother is overreacting. What can I expect if he does take me to court or call the police? Update: my son took the Boba Fett figure. So, I never honestly expected the post I made to get where it did. I also never expected the barrage of support and hate. I will say these past 48 hours have been a ride, and that post has not helped in any way. So, why am I back? Well, because I feel like I need to be. I'm not here to give some apology to a bunch of internet strangers for how I acted or seek validation. I'm here because I feel that for myself I need to admit my own wrongs and move on to a better place. So, I want to talk about something first before I get into the update. Many people who responded talked about how me or my brother in a bad light, and with how I reacted in the comments it didn't help the situation. I was also hit pretty hard for how I was not taking my brother into consideration when talking about the issue. To give some context for this, me and my brother have never had a good relationship. We have never seen eye to eye, and after our father's death, he cut contact with me for a good amount of time. We're just different in some senses. He's a single nerdy guy who has no aspiration for family, while I'm the exact opposite. In these past few years we've tried to fix this. Work as adults to bring what little family we have back together. During our time apart he began collecting old nerdy things, and I won't lie, I never understood the appeal. It is his life though, and he can do what he wants. So, when my son stole and damaged his property, I didn't see how it was valuable to him and discounted it. So when he asked for $2,000 to fix it, I really didn't feel like it was worth it. Was this wrong of me? Maybe. I don't feel bad about defending my son, I only feel bad that I discounted my brother in the process. Sorry about that. Like I said, I don't want sympathy. I only wrote that out to allow myself to be true about the situation. Back to the update. So, after all was said and done, my family had pretty much been thrown into chaos. I had no idea what I was going to do, and after talking with my wife, we decided we would take many of your advice and have my son pay him back. We collected all the non-essentials he had and planned to sell them to raise funds. During this time I got back into contact with my brother and wanted to talk this out to make sure this did not end badly. I offered to pay in full. Also, some people in the comments said that the figure was worth less, so I asked him. He had it professionally valued a few months ago when he bought it, and it was worth a total of $2,200. My brother said he plans to not sue us. His renter's insurance apparently is willing to pay him the value he has listed, but he would need to file a police report to get it. At first, we agreed not to go that route and simply pay him the value of it or one for a replacement if he could get it cheaper. This was the plan until last night. During the process of taking his things away, my wife found a conversation he had with a friend he has over the internet. It turns out my son stole the figure to sell. He had Googled it while we were at my brother's house and found out how much it was worth, and bragged to a friend that he was going to sell it at a pawn shop. He didn't realize that taking it out of the package would ruin it, so he ripped it out to hide in the car better. Suffice to say, I am not happy about this. I won't elaborate on this very much more, but me and my wife have decided that what is best for all of us is that we let him face the consequences of this. My brother is going to file a police report and collect money from insurance. Some may say this is a bit harsh, but honestly I think this might be for the best in the end. The way my son actively stole from family to make a profit worries me, and I believe the only option that I can live with myself making is this. I will stand by my son till the need, but he needs to learn now before he is an adult. So, thank you all for the advice. The support and hate are what I needed as a true wake-up call. Like I said, I don't need pity. I'm doing this so that I can be true to myself, and maybe become a better parent in the end. Reminder, I am not the original poster. In the thread Ashes2897 commented, initially I thought from the title that this kid was like 5, not 15. Dang, I mean even if he pays back the $2,000 that doesn't count the time it takes to find a replacement, since I imagine that figure is probably rare and doesn't come up that often for sale. Paying back the full amount is probably the least they could do in this situation. Brown Sugar Bear. I also didn't appreciate that OP only felt the need to really understand the gravity of the issue when wife found out son took it, with full knowledge of what he was doing and how much it was worth. Even if he had taken it without the intention to sell, he still knowingly stole from someone, and OP was acting like, if I don't think it's worth that much, then is it really worth that much? Right punishment in the end, but it took OP way too long to realize it. Also, screw him for referring to his brother as a nerdy single guy with no family aspirations. As if being single with a hobby is something to look down upon. Legendary Bra Veg. Dude, that line rubbed me the wrong way too. You can just feel his resentment towards his brother for not aspiring to be a family man like him. Hate people like that.